All right, YouTube, this Detroit's HPTV coming to you out of Detroit, back with another video. Now, we got to talk about an interesting turn of events because I don't know how many of you actually follow Letitia James. I know everybody is familiar with Jasemine Crockett because she's the new media darling spokesperson for the Democratic Party. But Letitia James, she was the prosecutor in New York that went after Trump, ran her whole campaign to be elected on she was going after Trump. Now, when she went after Trump for mortgage fraud and how he was getting loans on property. And that resulted in a lot of the charges that he had out of New York. Now, for some reason, she ran an entire campaign on how she was going to bring Trump down. Good morning as you come in the building, Toy. So she ran her whole campaign on that she was going to bring down Trump. Okay. They were able to drag him through court, her and Alan Bragg out of New York. But in all actuality, he still won. Good morning. So if he still won, that means that 78 million people in America said, we don't care about those type of cases that you're bringing because it doesn't really go to. It may say something about his character as a man, but it has nothing to do with what we want as a businessman in America, because America is a corporation. If you look up United States codes, it'll tell you America is a corporation. America, since they went off the gold standard, has been using birth certificates, social security cards, and information of its citizens as chattel papers collateral. So that's how they've been able to get loans from World Bank, China, and any other global loaning business, because their collateral is the very fact that they're going to tax their citizens. Do you follow what I'm saying? Your birth certificate and your social security card are considered chattel papers, and they are used for collateral because the government is known for taxing its citizens. So why is everybody in an uproar about Trump creating tariffs to tax other countries? It's to the point, if you got a Gucci purse or a Gucci bag or Apple phone, or you could take your most expensive thing that you cherish, and China made it. China knocked it off. China has squozed the market to the point to where no authentic merchandise is even being sold on a global scale, because China has cornered the market in counterfeiting and what they call imitation clothes, imitation phones, imitation jewelry. But I digress because I got off Letitia James. Now, Letitia James ran that campaign on she was going to get Trump. And now come to find out that she's engaged in being accused of mortgage fraud. The same thing that she prosecuted Trump for as Attorney General. Mortgage fraud. And then now you have Jasemine Crockett with her Elon Musk attack. Now they found something out about her. They saying that she was getting donations through APAC, not APAC, Pac Blue, but they were using private citizens' addresses and names to launder money. You got Fannie Willis down in Atlanta. Now she's ducking subpoenas and she's running and hiding. They caught Maxine Waters trying to funnel $1 million to her daughter. And this is strange to me because these are all Black women in position of power. They've been elevated to a status to where you can't even criticize them without being called misogynist or racist. But at this point in time, they're being exposed for criminal, good morning, KD, for criminal, nefarious behavior in the name of the people. And the crazy part about it is they want you marching in the street against corruption and fascism when they are the most corrupt and the most fascist. The duplicitousness of them and their ability to manipulate the masses of people, it's insane that they can get in front of so-called intelligent people and tell you things that you know aren't true and you'll grasp them. They tell you that a man can have a period. And if you don't believe that, you're a bigot. They tell you that there's trans women and cis women and all kind of pronouns. And if you don't wrap your mind around that, then there's something wrong with you. It's like some type of mass hypnosis that has infected the American people. They can even call it witchcraft. You can call it whatever you discern it to be. But on some level, you have to ask yourself, why are the people so blind? Maybe they say that God put a veil over their eyes so they can't see. So they was doomed for destruction from the beginning. If you want to get biblical. But the title of this podcast, is it time for Letitia James and Jasemine Crockett to face retribution? Because the rabbit got the gun. We're going to see, do they want equal rights? Because if you were the most powerful man on the planet and people had tried to assassinate you, discredit you, disfame you, malign you, demonize you to prevent you from getting into office, what would you do if you overcame all of that and actually got into that office? Would you turn the other cheek and forgive your enemy? That's a slave teaching. And we're dealing with free people, free thinkers. Turn the other cheek and love your enemy is a slave teaching. If I had slaves, I would teach them that. Love your enemy, turn the other cheek. If I want your pants, give me your coat too. If I was an oppressor. But do they deserve retribution? And is the Black community even ready for it? Because all of this beating of the drums and calling people to protest and things like that, is they were running scared because they knew that an audit by Elon Musk was going to be able to uncover how someone who only makes $170,000 a year and worked at a job 2 years accumulated $9 million. Then they talking about Letitia James. She allowed herself to be put out front to prosecute Trump, not realizing that she had signed paperwork saying that her father and her were married so that they can get better rates. You know what? Let me let you hear it. Let me let you hear this for yourself.
That attorneys general representing
Put in one in the chat if you can hear me.
Stand up.
This is Letitia James.
Enforce the rule of law. The president of these United States is not above the law. No matter how rich, powerful, or politically connected you are, everyone must play by the same rules. Please sue him for us. Oh, we're going to definitely sue him. We're going to be a real pain in the...
And now the Trump Justice Department may be a pain in her you-know-what. The angle has obtained shocking allegations leveled.
Can y'all hear that good? Okay, good. Now, she ran, you just heard her. You hear how Laura Ingraham is setting up her stage because now it's about payback. If you look at the thumbnail I made for this video, that's why I put payback. Who here don't like payback? Maybe y'all are more enlightened than me. You know what I mean? More forgiving than me. But I like payback. I like revenge. I like retribution. I like all those things that you get when you win. Not no participation trophies. Listen to some more.
By the Trump administration against New York Attorney General Letitia James. The Federal Housing Finance Agency has sent a criminal referral to the DOJ accusing James of mortgage fraud. In a letter to Attorney General Pam Bondi, Director Bill Pulte says James...
Now, isn't that what she prosecuted Trump for? Exacerbating the price of his property that was his property. And she forgot that she did this.
Appears to have falsified records in order to meet certain lending requirements and receive favorable loan terms. He cited a property in Virginia that she's allegedly claimed as her principal residence and a property in New York that she claimed as a 4-unit structure instead of the required, instead of a 5, which Pulte says means she was able to get a different type and more favorable loan. Joining me now is Jonathan Turley, Fox News contributor and law professor at GW University. Jonathan, mortgage fraud.
Hey, you know they mean business when they bring out their own personal law professor. They ain't say lawyer. They say, we only got a professor. We're going to make sure we cross every T, dot every I.
Is rampant in the United States. There's all sorts of fraud that's rampant. There's disability fraud that they've vowed to crack down on in the Trump administration. But this is another thing that they have vowed to crack down on because it costs real money. Your reaction to these allegations?
Well, obviously, the irony is perfectly crushing. This is a person who prosecuted Trump for everything short of ripping a label off a mattress. And among the charges that were brought in New York, and not just the civil but the criminal case, was making false or misleading statements to financial institutions. And one of these sections, Section 1014 of the federal code, is prosecuted. It took me about 60 seconds of a search to find cases that the Department of Justice brought against people who falsely claimed that property was their principal residence in order to get loans. So this is well-tread areas for the Justice Department. As for James, if we applied Letitia James' standard that she created, there'd be little question here. This seems pretty straightforward. What the administration is saying is this was not her principal residence. In fact, as a New York elected official, she had to say that her principal residence was in New York. This was an out-of-state residence. But also, they claim that in some of these forms, she actually states that her father is her husband in order to file as a married couple.
Somebody sent Letitia James a message that if you're going to prosecute an ex-president, a sitting president that has the Secret Service at its disposal, the Department of Justice at his disposal, all of law enforcement, Air Force, Navy, Marines, you better make sure that you ain't got no skeletons in your closet at this point. Let's listen to what else they're accusing her of.
So there's a lot of those questions. And as you know, the Supreme Court just stated earlier in March in a case called Thompson.
Yeah, he forgot Tiffany Henry.
False statements under sections like 1014, not just misleading statements. These are misleading statements. Either it's your principal residence or it's not.
Or it's not.
Either you're married to your father or he's your father. So they can this can satisfy the Thompson standard.
Yeah, well, Jonathan, we reached out to the DOJ, and they have no comment on this referral. We also reached out to Attorney General James, who did not respond to us either. So, again, everyone wants the best interest rate you can get. I understand that. But, she's a lawyer. She knows that when you sign a mortgage application, that mortgage application, if you're borrowing money, if you're not borrowing money, nobody cares whether it's your principal residence, except, where you file your taxes. But she decided to state that that was her principal residence, knowing it was not her principal residence. I didn't even know she had property. I mean, I guess she had property in Virginia and she has rental or investment property in New York. That's fine. But in the New York matter, to get the favorable rate, the building could only have 4 units, but it looks like the entirety of this building, it had 5 units, meaning it was in violation of the actual loan agreement. And again, this is not a novel application of the law, Jonathan. As you stated during the persecution of Donald Trump, she was using all these novel applications of law to go after him. This isn't novel. This is a black and white issue. You either did or you didn't.
Right, and this has been prosecuted in the past. Now, we have not heard her side of this, but these documents themselves are quite damning. It's hard to see how the residences listed were her principal residence. The business about her father is just bizarre. Now, I'll note that one of the things that Letitia James stressed in her case against Trump is that Trump had to review documents that were filed in his name. And so she dismissed the argument that this was something that Trump's people put together. She said he's ultimately responsible. So they allege that she gave a power of attorney in a couple of these instances, but according to her own standard, that's not enough.
Professor, the referral cites the case against the former Baltimore City prosecutor, Marilyn Mosby, because she was sentenced to a year in home confinement for lying about her finances to make early withdrawals from retirement funds during COVID, and then fraudulently claimed that her own $5,000 was a gift from her then husband as she closed down a Florida condo. So the idea that, again, this is just no one.
Okay, that's enough. Well, you hear what they're saying about Letitia James on Fox News. And they showing the documents, so definitely they coming from them. Now, listen to your girl, Ghetto Jasemine Crockett, but they didn't call her doing.
Are you experiencing pain from your e-commerce platform? Use Scale for long-lasting e-commerce.
Where the money goes? Damn.
All I think about a lawyer.
My people
can go for the
Listen to this, y'all.
realm. So I am telling you that this is a failed thing, but we've got to do better to connect the dots and let people know the reason you can't afford a home is because of these failed immigration policies. The reason you're not going to be able to afford your food is because of these failed immigration policies.
So that's interesting for her to say. The reason people can't afford homes is because of failed immigration policies. These liberals, they say the quiet part out loud all the time.
And the same can go for the hospitality industries, where we have so many of those in the hospitality industry that are saying they do not have the workers that they need right now.
You know what? We just found out about that stat today. When Trump got in office for 2018 and 2019, the price of a home went down about 1 or 2%. When Joe Biden got in office, homes skyrocketed about 5 to 6% in value.
So I just, I know she's a lawyer and all. So some people say, she is. When I talk to people about her, some people in the black community, I say I don't like her. They be like, Jasmine's an outstanding lady and she's a lawyer. And she
my
knows
mom
what she's
says
talking
that,
about.
but my mom's also a lawyer.
My people say that too, and I said I hate that. So
My mama likes it.
But okay though, hey guys, you can't be this damn dumb and not be under investigation. Jasemine Crockett is now under investigation by the FEC over donations made.
That tone sounds kind of celebratory, don't it? They can't wait to say that loudmouth Jasemine is going to take her ghetto shenanigans all the way to the joint. Once you get out of jail, she can go on and make a rap record. She's going to be a drill rapper. You know what I mean? She went to jail. She ghetto fabulous. So once you get out of jail, she got a rap career.
To her campaign through the leftist fundraising organization Act Blue. Have you ever heard about Act Blue?
Yeah, Act Blue been dropping that bag to Democrat organizations.
Evidence reportedly shows that the individual donated to her campaign over 50 times without their knowledge, suggesting that donations were being given under the false names. Crockett received over $870,000 in total donations through
$870,000 to one bank account. That ain't hard to track. So they got that down to the penny. So Jasemine, what was you doing? Let's listen to some more of her shenanigans.
Act Blue.
Hold on, bro.
Wow.
Elon Musk is going after y'all in Social Security. That is crazy.
Now that's a lot of money, right?
Why do you think she didn't want him to look into it? I know, that's why I said it. That's so funny.
Damn. They got a
Is this true?
suspect donor with 73-year-old. They're looking into it. This is new information. Yeah, so we got an interview with Sheldon, and maybe we can, ask him about it. But he exposes her on X all the time. This has been going very viral.
They've been dropping that bag off.
Yeah, Elon even said Act Blue has committed massive fraud. Damn.
All I think about was the tongue out with the alcohol in her hand, bro.
It was only a certain group of people that was super mad.
Y'all got to tell me there's something wrong with this picture. Letitia James, Jasemine Crockett, Fannie Willis, Tiffany Henyard, Ayanna Presley, Maxine Waters. They done got it to the point to where black women have become the secret political weapon, the equivalent to a weapon of mass destruction. And of course, we're going to go through the racism. It's racism, and that's why they're going after them. But they're not going to say nothing about all that money. Where you get all that money? Oh, while we're talking about money, if you want to support the channel, hit the Cash App. hit the Cash App for me, because YouTube, not only will they shadow ban you, they send the channel through all type of changes, because I think how they think, the bigger channels, it's harder to slow their message down because they have so many subscribers that as soon as they log on, it's an influx of people that's going to their channel. So it's harder to keep them out of the algorithm. A smaller channel is easier because you have less subs, so it's easier to just don't recommend your video and don't put it out there. So you'll have subs that's your day ones that follow you that won't even know that you posted. Because I used to go live all the time in the beginning. And it's been so long since I started doing this, but it feels good because it's a breakfast show and we can talk about everything I researched last night. But I felt that was the most interesting because I knew in this racially charged environment that everything was going to be about race. I keep telling y'all, they want y'all to focus on racism so y'all don't never know nothing about capitalism and how they skimming off the top. Why you can't get resources when immigrants can. So y'all tell me what y'all think. Do y'all think it's time for Letitia James and Jasemine Crockett and the rest of the liberals over there on the left to actually get their karma, reap what they sow? Tell me in the chats. Well, this is Detroit's HPTV, signing to you out of Detroit. As always, salute to all patriots. Like, share, and subscribe. And keep your head on the swivel. Peace.